This team is incomplete. I told you, I repeated it millions of times here on the channel. I don't know if this team will be able to compete until the last match of Serie A, going and winning the Coppa Italia, maybe reaching semi-final, final, and who knows, lifting that cup with the big trophies in the air. I don't know if Igor Tudor was and is the best available coach on the market for the Bianconeri, but there is one thing that I know that makes me happy and extremely proud today to be a Juventino. I feel, I see, I smell that Juventus is willing to put again Juventus where they belong for a mid-term project, but it starts with the basic, with the fundamentals, being respected and not loved by everyone. Because Juve in their history has always been, yes, it's true, the most loved club in Italy, but especially the most hated club in Italy. And it's our way or no way. And I respect that a lot. My demands have been answered. I didn't want to hear speaking about a minimum top 4 objective, and I didn't hear it from Elkan, Scannavino, from Damien Comolli, from Tudor, from the players. I wanted a Damien Comolli, a Juve being able already to send some messages to the agent, to the players, to the other clubs like Napoli, but also against Paris Saint-Germain. And that's what we'll speak about in today's video. Also speaking about a possible verbal agreement already from Dusan Vlahovic to go to Inter. Are you ready? Ciao. Ciao Juventini of the world. My name is Giuseppe. Welcome back on the channel. For people that are not aware of it, we started since yesterday, every Thursday, 10 p.m. Italian time, podcast here live on the channel together with our friends. It's in partnership of Turin Giants, and the day after it's already available. You can hear it in podcast version on Turin Giants, Spotify and Apple podcast. So go, if you don't want to see my face anymore, you can just enjoy it while driving or while you are at the office. That being said, we go. Is Mercato over? Yes, virtually it's over because some markets are still open. We are okay about that, but it's never really over because now the backstage stories are arriving, and one stronger than all the other ones is a story of Comolli. Because what did we hear yesterday night, this morning from Sport Zone? That Al-Khelaifi is pissed off with Damien Comolli, pissed off with Juve. These are the words that has been reported. You have been messing with us for weeks. It's over. You won't get it your way with me. And I will remember your tactics. Trust me on that. That's what he said before saying to the agent of the player to go and find another solution. Are we actually new to these kinds of words, of these kinds of explanations from Al-Khelaifi? Absolutely not. For people that have a short memory or are too young to remember, 2017, Verratti, that close with his agent to go to the Blaugrana. Al-Khelaifi stops everything. He forbids the player to even start thinking about it, where Di Campli, the agent of Verratti, went with even big words against the president, blackmailing. What does he do? He's obliging Verratti to go in front of the camera, apologizing himself. And what does he do then after that really humiliating video? He goes to Barcelona, 222 million euro cash for the close of Neymar to bring him to Paris Saint-Germain. Why? Because they did need the player to win the league? No. Of course, he needed the player to dream about the Champions League that they were not able to win with Neymar. But for one thing, that was the main driver to actually humiliating Barcelona, to send them a message: don't mess with us. If you want our players, it's our rules. Otherwise, we will show you what we can do. We don't care about the money. Boom, we go and we take Neymar. And this is a bit the same strategy that they did for Juve. Of course, some people will say, but Juve, they promised the players, disrespecting towards Comolli. Juve, they tried. Guys, it's business. Like when we had Axel Witsel in our offices waiting, also something that he publicly said that it was true, Zenit never gave us the facts that agree that transfer. Did you hear Juve going out with big words against Zenit? I never heard these kind of words. And that's what they try to do. Because it failed, because they wanted every time more, and Juve was not agreeing with it. From the moment that Juventus on the 1st of September is announcing Zegrova Openda, he goes totally crazy. What is he doing? He's actually sending Comolli on a free to Tottenham. Loan for a ridiculous amount, 2 million euro if I am not wrong, just to show Juve, we don't care. You wanted the player? We didn't want to give it. We asked you incredible numbers for the players, but actually we don't care. It was just to actually annoy you, because look what we are able to do. We are sending him. We know the tactics of Al-Khelaifi. I'm absolutely not new to that. But you know what the beautiful story of all of that is? That we don't care. Damien Comolli doesn't care. If you're listening to some interviews in the past where you speak about target A, and if you are not able, you go to target B, and if not, to target C and to target E, because it's true that there is a difference between A and B, but then from B to E to F, there is not a big difference. We just need to be prepared, what Damien Comolli showed. So I'm not surprised in the big words through media, because it's a media war, that they are coming from Paris. Now, I tell you, I'm happy. I'm proud of this Juventus, that way of managing it, to be back to not being loved, because it brings me back to Antonio Conte, that in 2012 was saying, oh guys, who is winning is never pleasant. This is something that I will never change my idea about. I go my way. And then if I am respected, if people are admiring me, if they are jealous about me, if I am unpleasant, I don't care. This comes in a second way. Where is he coming from, Antonio Conte? From Scuola Juve, as a player, as a captain, and then as a coach. This is DNA Juve. It's true, he's now to Napoli. We know that not always he has had the perfect example in terms of behavior, but we know where he's coming from. And that 2012 Antonio Conte, who is coach, who will coach Juve, will never be loved. And we don't care about that. We go back to when Juventus was loved. You remember the last time that Juventus was loved? When we were in Serie B. You know when it was the really last time that Juventus was loved? When we were twice 7th in Serie A. Then Juve was simpatica, was pleasant. I don't want to be pleasant. I don't care. Yes, it's true, I am loved by a lot of Juventini in Italy and outside of Italy, but I love to be hated because we are winning. At the moment, we are not winning, but we are putting again the basic, and that's what I'm extremely happy about the new way of behaving of Damien Comolli, taking risks, taking risks of the Mercato, because at the end we didn't take Colomoni. Maybe if we were faster, maybe if some negotiation would go through faster, we would have gone and selling Dusan Vlahovic for a smaller price, agreeing so that we were saving on the money, on the salary, maybe fulfilling that right wing-back position, maybe. So the work on the field of 25-26 is probably not perfect, but we are sending a beautiful, strong message. Like Allegri said, oh guys, ragazzi, you know what were the words of Allegri? One day he said, La Juve deve essere antipatica e vincente. Juve must be unpleasant, but a winning Juve. Even Luciano Moggi, one of the most respected sporting directors, said Comolli, well, he did extremely well. He must be admired for the way that he's standing against Paris Saint-Germain. Congratulations to him. Ragazzi, it's not only Colomwani. We already spoke about Miretti, about Weah, about Conceição, about Vlahovic, that is still here because he was not able to bring a valid offer. Jonathan David, we spoke about it. Conceição, 0 deals with Italy. I want also to go back to O'Reilly. O'Reilly could have gone to Juve for a really cheap. You know what was a cheap? A dry loan, like a Renato Vega, like a Colomwani. But Damien Comolli said no. We don't want to actually put more value on the player without having the certainty that we can keep him. Bravo, Damien Comolli. At risk of missing a midfielder, but we don't agree with that. Bravo, Damien Comolli, also on Serginho Dest, because he's a player that could have played as a fullback on the right side. Juve said no, because it's not the player that we want. So at risk of staying with what we have, at risk of maybe not even winning the Serie A, we stay with what we have, instead of going and overspending like we didn't do also for Jonathan Klaus with Nice. Bravo, chapeau. Yesterday I watched Belgium. Yesterday I watched Turkey against Georgia. I must say that if I pushed a bit for having a Juve being able to play that 4-2-3-1 so that we can have the maximum of offensive players and to make it actually a logic to have them all together play, all of them play together, well, maybe I'm changing opinion, because it's not the first time that I'm watching Kenan Yildiz playing in that 4-2-3-1 where he's totally ignored, like yesterday with Turkey. It's a player that is not at his best. Yesterday he didn't do a beautiful game. I watched it also with Thiago Motta, where he was asked to play extremely wide. So if we must play 4-2-3-1 to have a lot of offensive players, but actually asking Kenan Yildiz and sacrificing him on the wing, I prefer not. I also watched Belgium against Liechtenstein, at least 50 minutes of the game, observing Openda. Openda will have probably a lot of difficulties against the low block team, because that's what actually happened against Liechtenstein yesterday in Belgium, where he played there as a number 9, finding a lot of difficulties. Then, of course, I'm asking myself, but why Openda when you already have a Jonathan David? Because Openda is not a vice Kenan Yildiz. Why is that? And that's where we arrive towards the second topic of the day, about Fabiana Della Valle, that said, look, in the last months Vlahovic had contacts not only with Milan, that wanted to take him immediately, but also with Inter for a transfer at the end of his contract, so on a free. Marotta already moved towards the player, with the entourage of the player as well, trying to understand what could happen in the month of June. Inter already received the agreement, the fact that he loves that option from the player to go with the Nerazzurri as a free parameter. And that's where my big question is. Yes, it's true that he entered twice, and twice he was able to score. And we saw when we spoke about it, Dusan Vlahovic that is angry against the world, angry against whatever, but that wants to show it's better to have him than not having him, because if he's making the difference, who cares? Of course, who cares? On the other side, if you know that Dusan Vlahovic, one of his biggest weaknesses has always been the mental, and we know that Dusan Vlahovic, more the weeks, more the months will go, more he will understand that he's not a starter, more he will go towards the end of his contract. Well, you are not sure today that he will be able to always enter as a vice striker and score goals. Maybe Juve, they went on Openda to pair him, to rotate with Jonathan David, to already secure the post-Dusan Vlahovic, where as a consequence, where we can see less and less and less Dusan Vlahovic, especially if he goes to the Nerazzurri. Am I sure that he will go there? Absolutely no. We were talking about it, about Chiesa, about Dybala. At the end, not one, not the other went to the Nerazzurri. Am I surprised about the strategy of Marotta? Absolutely not, because that is really a technique that is using. Let's see what will happen, but I will not be shocked if really Della Valle is right, and I always confirm you that Della Valle has a special feeling source with the Dusan Vlahovic entourage. If it's right, I would not be surprised to understand now why Comolli went for Jegrova, Conceição, Yildiz, keeping Adzic, playing with Jonathan David and Openda, because Dusan Vlahovic could be that he goes less and less and less with appearances in this Juve, already knowing the future of the Serbian player. If you enjoyed that video, please put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe. Grazie, forza, Juve.